Hello, 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 hello. We're coming to you live on Thursday night because yesterday was Halloween and I just didn't think it was right to take people away from their families. So I hope everybody had a wonderful time with their families. Whether you still trick or treat or not, it's always a fun time of year watching people get excited, get dressed up, and go out there and just have some fun. So tonight, we are going to talk about two things. Being November the 1st, we're going to talk about what you have accomplished so far this year. So many people make New Year's resolutions. And again, I'm not criticizing or judging, but so many people make New Year's resolutions. And then by the end of January, mid-February, mid-March, they've already, given up on their resolutions, given up on their goals, and basically packed it in for the year. Now, the year is 12 months long. The year is 52 weeks long. So at November 1st, we're not done. You may have given up already. However, it doesn't mean you have to stay there. So the first thing I want to address tonight is it's November the 1st, 2018. You still have all of November and all of December to at least make a dent into any of your goals, whether your goals were physical, whether you wanted to get in better shape, you wanted to lose weight, whatever it was from a physical or health standpoint. If it was finances, whether you made a decision that you were going to start a home-based business, or if you've already got a business that you were going to ramp up your production or your profitability or your revenues. The point I'm trying to make is don't make the mistake of throwing away the next 8, 9, 10 weeks because you didn't accomplish the goals that you set out initially at the beginning of this year. And the example that I'm going to point to on that is I spent years as a personal trainer, and then long after I was certified, I still continued to work with people. And the number one thing that always frustrated and amazed me was when people would say, I want to lose weight, I want to start a diet, I want to start a workout plan. And I would say to them, fantastic. Okay, let's set up a game plan. And they all said the same exact thing. Let's start it next Monday. I'm going to pause there and give you the chance to respond. I know there's not a whole huge audience right this minute, but if you're listening to me right now, have you ever, either you yourself or heard somebody say, I'm going to start, and whatever it is, next Monday, instead of right now, when you realize that you need to, they put it off for 2, 3, 4 days until next Monday. Who's ever seen that? The reason I bring it up is it's one of the fatal flaws that we have in our DNA. And that flaw is to procrastinate and to delay. It's almost like the mantra is, why do now what I can put off until tomorrow? And that is a total employee-minded way to live your life. And the reason I say that is, again, not to be derogatory towards employees, but if you have owners of companies and employees of companies, the owner wants to see production, wants to see results, wants to see jobs and tasks completed, and employees are there just to make sure they fill in their 8 or 10 hours and get paid. Because when you're paid hourly, your job is to milk the clock, your job is to stay out of the spotlight, your job is to exist and not do anything to be singled out. And that's just not the way a productive, healthy life works. And I shouldn't say all, because it's not every employee, but it's the predominant employee mindset, because it's the way that system is programmed. So when you live your life with an employee mindset, you're passing the time. You're being busy and active, but you're not necessarily focused on being productive. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up right now is too many people are lost in the shuffle. So how do we get unstuck? How do we become on the right path rather than, on a merry-go-round or a treadmill or some never-ending loop? We set a goal, and then we make specific steps towards that goal. And if you were reading my posts, one of them was, don't ever discourage or criticize progress, no matter how slow it is. Because again, it's not about how fast you can get it done. It's about, are you making progress every day? And the other post was, the only person that I'm in competition with, the only person I'm trying to be better than, is the person I was yesterday. That's your yardstick. That's it. That's your goal. That's your game plan. To do better today than you did yesterday. So it's been kind of an overwhelming message that I've been delivering, because I wanted to talk tonight about the experiment that I began, I guess it was on Saturday or Sunday. Now, I've posted this a few different times over the last probably 3 or 4 years, and I always want to preface, there's no judgments, there's no criticisms, it's merely observations. And in my world, I need to observe, I need to pay attention, I need to understand other people in order for me to have a career and to be successful at it. So it's become automatic for me over the last, 3 decades, to live my entire life under the mindset of to seek first to understand others rather than to be understood. And it's a quote from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But what I want to drive home right now is that we as individuals have more power and more control over our lives than we'll ever realize. And what I mean by that is the post you will see in the world, in your reality, all around you, only what you carry in your heart. Now, I want that to sink in for a second, because I want to be really transparent with you. I was never a big fan of the cliches. I was never a big fan of the woo-woo mystical stuff. I was never a big fan of any of that. And my attitude was, no, you work hard, you stay focused, you do what it takes. And I was very programmed. I was 100% in the matrix, programmed, locked down. But what I've come to realize the last probably 3.5, 4 years, because this has been 2015, 2016, 2017, and we're almost through 2018 for me now, almost 4 full years of this complete awakening and enlightenment to all of the things that I held as beliefs, that I held true, that I stood firm on, that I defended and fought as if they were absolutes. I had to come to realize they were nothing more than beliefs, and the beliefs came from other people, from the programming, from the overall society that I was raised in. And so what I came to realize was that we do have the ability, once we change our thoughts and we change what we say and we change what we feel in our hearts, the world around us does legitimately change. And so here was my experiment. Some of you've experienced this over the past, I'm going to say the better part of 3 years, maybe the better part of 4 years. So certainly during the past 2 years of President Trump's presidency, and certainly during the last 2 years of President Obama's presidency. So for the better part of 4 years, I personally have witnessed on my Facebook timeline an overwhelming transition towards negativity. Now, it's funny because a lot of people tell me, oh, I eliminate all that from my life. And that's wonderful, but I come from a different place. I come from the place where when people are negative, there's a reason. And the phrase hurt people is very real. So rather than just get rid of negative people, I reach out to them with a private message. Meaning, if you're posting some stuff on your page that gets onto my news feed that is either just pure racist, I'm going to delete you because I'm not interested in that. Or pure violence, I'm going to delete you. But I'm talking about relatively good people who are posting and saying things that are not in alignment with who they are. And it's easy for me to recognize they're being manipulated. So whether it's the media or the politics or someone from the entertainment world, somebody has gotten into their head and they're spewing nonsense that is not in alignment. I repeat, it is not in alignment with who they are. So for those of you that have advised just cut them all out of your life. Fantastic. That's great. But again, that's not who I am. So my job for me, when I see that, is to reach out and try to find out why, try to understand what's going on. And about half of the time, I'm able to diffuse it and they go back to being normal, happy, healthy people. The other half of the time, they remain negative and ignorant, and then I will delete them. Meaning I'll let them know, hey, look, you know what, good luck, God bless, but you know, I'm going down a completely different path, and if you change your mind, send me a friend request. But I don't just cut them out, because I believe those are the people that need somebody to show compassion, to show empathy, to basically extend an open heart to them. Once you punch me in the face once, though, you don't get a second shot. And I've gotten to the point now where I can absorb the one punch from anybody. But the reason I'm bringing that up is I've watched it become overwhelming day after day, week after week, month after month, these last 3.5, 4 years. So I decided to do an experiment with my own personal friends list. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is it's ridiculous to call it a friends list, because it's really not a list of friends. It's a contact base. I knew for a fact that I didn't have a personal relationship with everyone on that group of friends on Facebook, but I decided that I was going to make a very legitimate, consistent effort to reach out to all of you. Now, here's the funny thing. I knew I couldn't get to you all at once, but I've been averaging a little over 400 a day for the last, I think, 3 nights or 4 nights, whatever it's been. And the whole point of doing that was real simple. Number one, if you and I have never had any interaction, it's about time that I said hello to you. If we had interaction but we've dropped off over the last 2, 3, 4 years, it's about time one of us reached out and said hello. So I'll pause there for a second. How many of you think that that might be a little bit more legitimate for a friend? Somebody that, if you're in a friends list, there should be some form of interaction between the two of you. Because I have thousands of people that either I had never talked to beyond the hello when we connected, or have not communicated with since 2012 or 13 or 14. And so for me, it made sense. Now, here's the irony of it. The people that I've had very little to no contact with far outweighed. I would say to you that it represents probably 70, maybe 75% of my friends list. So that's shocking to find out that whether you have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever the number is, that you are probably only legitimately friends and in communication with 10 to 20% of them. However, it doesn't mean you get rid of the rest. It means there was something initially that connected you, so why not explore it? So for those of you that have already gotten my message, fantastic. For those of you going, what are you talking about? I bet your last name ends with KLMN or beyond, because I believe I got through the J's so far. I've gone about between 16 and 1,800 people, and I'm in the K's and the L's now as far as last name, because I just went alphabetical. But here's the funny thing. My request, what I reached out, was real simple. I basically said, I don't want to try to claim it exactly, but I reached out saying, hi, I'm reaching out because I've noticed an overwhelming amount of negativity on my Facebook timeline, and I wanted to reach out and say hello and ask you to do me a little favor. It's an experiment. Would you please list just one thing that you see positive in the world today? And when you reply back, I'll send you my answer. Thanks so much. That was my message to, 16, 17, 1,800 people. Here's the funny thing. Of all the people that I reached out to, I have had responses back from over 50%. So let's call it 1,000 out of 1,600. So that's kind of cool that over 50% of the people responded. What's not cool is that almost 50% of the people didn't. So there's a level of apathy that is disengaging. Now, it doesn't make any of them bad. Maybe they don't check Messenger. Maybe they're looking at me and saying, you know, what gives? I haven't heard from this guy ever, or I haven't heard from this guy in 2 or 3 years. So who knows? But that's the first thing I wanted to uncover is what level of response would I get? Now, here's the funny thing. Of the people that responded, it is at least 90, maybe 95% overwhelmingly, amazingly positive. The responses that I'm getting are some very short, and some are sending me 6 paragraphs, like they've really invested their time in it. So for me so far, it's been extremely rewarding because my goal in my response is I thank you for the response, and I'm going to try to do my best to keep my Facebook page as a resource for positive interaction. And I'd love to stay in closer contact with you going forward. So I'm hoping that I can create some type of a positive ripple effect, even just within my little group of friends on Facebook, and within that group, the even smaller group of people that were willing to respond and willing to respond in a positive way. Now, the other 5 to 10%, these are the people that mean the most to me right now. The people that responded, I can't find anything positive, my heart breaks for that person. I've actually had people say to me, John, I've spent the last 30 minutes trying to think of something positive and I can't. So my response to those people is real simple. Then my experiment is exactly done for you. I want to do what I can to try to show you that there is a lot of positive stuff out there, that there's a lot of good stuff, that we just have to look at it. The funny thing is, there's actually a percentage of people that were angry, that literally took my message, which is not political, not religious. It's just a simple, hey, I'm reaching out to say hello. We're friends on Facebook, and asking if you just participate in this little experiment and tell me anything, just one thing that you see positive in the world. And the response is, no, thank you. Please don't bother me again. And I had to just stop and laugh. And I'm thinking, boy, we really need to pray for those people, because how do you get angry and negative from that response? And again, not here to judge, not here to criticize. I'm just here to say that's how bad it is for some people, that little reach out. It wasn't asking for money. It wasn't asking for you to buy something or support something or join anything. It was simply, hey, let's just try to share a little positive light. That is what I was looking for. That is what I was trying to identify. Does it really exist? And the point I'm trying to make with this whole experiment is we are going to see whatever we're carrying in our heart, whatever we are focused on, whatever we are dialed into, whatever we are carrying in our heart, we're going to see everywhere, because my message is the same to everyone. My message is simple, it's easy to understand, it's pure, it's not asking for anything, it's not pressuring anything, and the responses that I get are truly 100% a reflection of who that person is. So if the person doesn't respond, I'm okay with it. If the person responds negatively, I'm okay with it. And if the person responds with something positive, I'm okay with it. And this is the point. When you truly have no agenda, when you truly have no angle, when you're doing something without a condition or an expectation, you honestly and truly can be divorced from the results. And I think that's what has been the easiest thing for me, is because I am divorced from the results, because I am simply doing what little thing I can, or at least I thought that I could, to spark some positivity in that little group. And then hopefully by the end of the week, I'll have gone through the entire friends list. And from that, I'll be able to sort through the people that didn't respond will stay in one group. The people that responded negatively will stay in another group. And the people that responded positively will be in a third group. And I will have the ability to periodically reach out to the first group that didn't respond, never bother reaching out to the second group, and hopefully create something special and bigger and create a larger ripple effect with the third group. Many of you have actually responded so positively that you're doing something similar with your own group. Didn't ask anybody to do that. Didn't ask anybody to go through any extra effort. But how awesome is it that truly that concept of paying it forward, because some people were so excited and inspired about it that they said, wow, I have hundreds or thousands of people that John is not friends with. I'm going to take this little ripple. So how crazy is it? And the reason I'm doing this, guys, is it's so easy. It's so pervasive all over Facebook with all the negativity and the anger and the divisiveness. And again, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just saying that we're competing right now with whether it's the media or politics or religion or race or gender, you name it. There are people that are amped up and they're energized and they're banging heads and they're standing their ground and they're arguing with beliefs that are generational. And you know what? It's not serving any purpose today. Today, right now, November 1st, 2018, guess what? All that matters is right now. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to say I'm one of those, doomsday conspiracy guys, but I'm telling you right now that from what I'm watching, as far as witnessing and reading and seeing, and I'm not talking about the mainstream media. I'm talking about my friends list, my timeline, people that I know, people that I actually have relationships with and interaction. I'm seeing their minds being distorted to where they're unfriending each other because of a difference of opinion. And the reason I say that is, where and when did it happen that you and I have to agree 100% or else we're going to go to battle and be at war? That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense at all. But somewhere along the line, somebody got the idea that if you don't agree with me 100%, you are now my enemy and I must either convert you or crush you. Folks, that is not life and that is not living in harmony. In fact, I'm going to take a step on the other side of the fence and say this. You're only going, I say you, me, I do this. So whether you do this or not is up to you. But for me, I only grow when I interact with people who think differently than me. I want to say that again. I want that to sink in. I, John Costino, only evolve. I only grow. I only expand as a person when I surround myself and I pay attention to people who think differently than me. That doesn't mean I'm going to change my thought. I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in what I'm doing. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you 100% only surround yourself with people who think exactly like you don't evolve. It's very easy to get indoctrinated into a group. But let's be honest. Isn't that the definition of a cult? Nobody wants to think that they're in a cult. Nobody wants to believe that they're in a cult. I've witnessed it my whole career. In fact, this is how crazy it's been in my career. So I've been in the industry of home-based business where we all leaders in the home-based business, direct sales, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, industry, teach one thing. You must have an open mind. You must be open-minded. You must have an open mind in order to be successful. That's been the underlying common theme in every company in the industry. And then once you join a company, that company closes your mind and says, do not talk to anyone who does not think exactly like you. And I can remember saying, my gosh, not only is that contradictory, it doesn't make any sense to me. That means that you are so weak as a person that you cannot have a healthy conversation, a healthy dialogue with someone who thinks differently than you. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you. You guys all see the long hair, and I tell people all the time, I'm letting my hair grow long because I want to always remember to be like Jesus. But guess what? I wasn't always like this. I used to enjoy a good combat, a good battle, a good fight. And I always took the position of, if we're going to go to battle, right now is your only shot. I'm going to extend my hand and you can accept a draw because your chances of winning are 0. And people used to laugh, and then we would debate and I would crush them. And the reason I would crush them was I will never get into a debate unless I can validate and document what I'm about to say. Because if I can't, I'm going to say, you know what, I don't know. I have no problem saying, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me find out. So I never lost an argument or a debate because I didn't get into one that I didn't already have the documentation and the proof. But you know what I found? It didn't serve anything. It was an exhaustive effort, but it didn't solve anything. And I spent 20 plus years of my career battling people in other companies, debating compensation plans and the merit of this and the merit of that. And you know what? It didn't serve anything. So today, I don't do that. Today, I don't have a flag that I planted and said, this is I'm staking my claim. No. Now I work with people from all different companies across the industry, inside and outside of the home-based business arena. And instead, what I do is I seek to find common ground. And what I've done is I've looked at the base level and said, what do we share in common? We both want to be successful. Okay, great. Do we both want to help other people? Great. Do we both want to leave a positive impact in the world? Great. Now I've got enough common ground for us to do things together. And you know what? We don't have to be in the same company. We don't have to have the same political views. We don't have to have the same religion. We don't have to have the same anything to get along. And here's the point. If I can agree that I want to learn from you and not change you, and you can agree that you want to learn from me and not change me, then we both win. That, for me, is what's rewarding, to have a win-win relationship with everybody I come in contact with. And the bottom line is, if we could all operate from a win-win mentality, truly from a win-win mentality, where we're not out there trying to convince anybody of anything, change anybody's beliefs, control, manipulate, then you know what? We can live together and get along. Because the bottom line is, we all have the right to pursue our own happiness. As long as, and here's the big but we cannot infringe upon the rights of others, and we cannot do harm to anyone else. So give me a thumbs up or a yes if you agree that we all should be following our passion. We all deserve to seek our own happiness, our own peace, but we all must agree that we will do it while never doing any harm to anyone else. Because see, that's when it crosses the line. And if you have to harm others in order to enjoy yourself, then you need to look in the mirror and decide, is what you're doing a good idea? If you have to harm others in order to enjoy your life, in order to have fun, in order to get ahead, then is what you're doing really serving the greater good? Because as I mentioned in previous videos, I have come to believe, not through the woo-woo spiritual metaphysical, but in reality, we really are all one. And where we go, we are going to be held back by the weakest link. So I'm not advocating enabling anyone, but I am advocating supporting each other. There's a big difference between supporting and enabling, and we can leave that for a video at another time. But this is John Costino saying thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope what we talked about made sense. But to sum it up and to leave you with one closing thought, you are going to see in other people, you are going to see in the world only what you are carrying in your heart. So think clearly about what you want from life and feel in your heart, focus on that, and you'll begin to see it everywhere, because there is an overwhelmingly huge amount of goodness. And I believe in the white, bright light inside of all of us, the soul inside of all of us. And we have instead been convinced that the overwhelmingly, obnoxiously loud, tiny little fringe groups are the norm, and they're not. So don't be fooled. This is John Costino saying thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Good night, and God bless. Bye-bye, everyone.